Welcome to Empirical Pea Pod. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. If you could, please subscribe, follow, share, like, comment, whatever the hell happens when we do these things. I'm your host, Tim Day. Let's get to the show. All right. This is actually pretty amazing. We are talking to my friend Vicky.
Hi.
From Germany. Hello, Vicky.
Hello there.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I appreciate you finding some time and being able to talk to me. It's always amazing when I get to talk to you. It doesn't happen enough.
It sure doesn't.
What's going on over in Germany right now?
Well, the weather's pretty hot. Other than that, nothing special.
I think it's always funny to me to think of, like, because you're like, oh, Germany, it's got to be different. And then you're like, oh, it's literally the same as America's doing right now.
Probably, yeah.
So let's jump right into it. We've known each other for actually a long time.
Yeah, I think it's been like 15 years or so.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Like, to think about. And your story is a little unique, too, because most of the people here, we've kind of come together through school and stuff like that. But you were actually an au pair.
Yes.
Well, let's put a caveat right at the beginning here. Anything that isn't mostly standard English, I'm going to absolutely butcher. So feel free to correct me in pronunciations as we go.
Yeah.
That's why I was even afraid to say your last name. Like, it looks as simple as Hector, but who knows how it's pronounced.
Yeah, well, in German you would say Hektor, but you can say Hector. It probably sounds weird if you try to pronounce it in a German way.
When I say it, it sounds Hispanic. When you say it sounds German.
Yeah.
So tell me about how you got into the au pair program and kind of what that looked like before you had met any of us.
Well, I've always been interested in the English language. And when I was in the last 2 years, I think, of school, I got a new classmate who came back from America. She actually was an au pair in Chicago as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and we got to talking, and I was like, hey, that's exactly what I would like to do. And so, yeah, she kind of connected me to all the important people, and then I signed up, and there I was.
So way simpler than it sounds.
Well, there were a lot of steps that I had to go through. Like, I had to collect a specific amount of hours that I was working with kids, so they would know that I was qualified. And I went to an interview so they could hear my English, like so they would know that I would get along there and that people would understand me.
Yeah.
And also a psychological test, so they would know that I wouldn't want to, murder the kids or anything.
It's always smart to make sure somebody's not going to murder children.
Yes. And also when I came to America, I didn't go to the host family right away. There was something called, I forgot the word, but it was somewhere in Connecticut, I think, and it was like an orientation where, for example, we had a first aid class, and we learned not to shake a baby, no matter how hard it's crying. Never shake a baby.
Good advice.
So yeah, that was about 3 days, and then I flew to Chicago and met my host family.
So what year was this that you first got to, when you got to America?
It was September 2007.
Man, I still can't believe how long ago it was.
Yeah.
So how long, so basically what does an au pair do? Like, let's start there.
It's kind of like a nanny.
Okay. But it's usually somebody from another country?
Yes.
Like, it's basically like almost like an exchange program?
Kind of, yeah. But yeah, my chores were like a little bit of household chores, but more like everything that's got to do with the kids, like get groceries. Well, I got groceries for the whole family, but I had to get them for the kids. So they were like, well, since you're there already, why don't you get it for everyone? Which was totally fine with me. And I had to do the laundry for the kids and drive them around, cook for them. Yeah, just be there for them.
So how does that work as far? Because that sounds like a 24-hour, 7-day a week job, but you had a lot of free time. So how
Yeah.
did you work schedule that out for the week?
Well, I only worked from Monday till Friday for once, and also my kids were already at an age where they went to school. They were 9 and 12 at the time, so I was always free when they were at school. And yeah, I mean, the parents came home at some point, and that's when I was off.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and I know that you became friends with Laura, who's
Yes.
also from Germany.
Yeah.
And you had never met before, because I know you're from different parts of Germany. Did you meet in that program?
Yes, we did. Like
Nice.
this program was they had separate clusters, and one cluster is like an area with all the au pairs from that program with a counselor, and we met up once a month, and it was even like obligatory, like you had to be there. It
Right.
wasn't like you could decide, do I want to go there or not? You had to be there. And the first cluster meeting was like, I think a week or maybe two, but I think 1 week after I got there, and exactly I think 2 days after Laura came there. So we met pretty much right at the beginning, and we've been tight ever since. Like we became best friends in an instant, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. It's nice to have somebody too that you can kind of cling to. And you guys were so close,
Yeah.
as far as where your host families were too. Like, they were both in St. Charles, weren't they?
Yeah. I don't think that our host families like really knew each other, except for they knew that there was another family that had
Right.
au pairs, but they didn't, I don't know, hang out, or they
But I mean,
weren't
they
friends
were
or anything.
close in proximity,
Yes, yes.
so you guys could hang out
Like only a
together.
couple of streets. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's crazy. Just a couple of streets over. So when did you? Because you guys met Andy
Yeah.
first, right? How did that happen?
I wasn't there the first time they met. Like
Oh, that was
Laura
Laura and
was
Andy.
there. Laura was there with a few other au pairs, and they connected, and they, said, well, we have another party coming up, you can come join us. And Laura was like, I'll bring Vicky. And that's how I came into the picture.
Where did he meet them? How did they even meet?
I
Do you
think
remember?
at a bar, but I'm not sure
Just
since I wasn't
randomly?
there. But if
Yeah,
I remember correctly, they met at a bar.
that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, because then he. Do you remember your first introduction then when she brought you?
No, my memory isn't that good.
Well,
But
I'm sure
I
there's reasons for
think,
that.
I'm not sure if it was at your place or at the Short of All place. Um, but there were a bunch of people, and I think you were there too the first time, right?
Yeah, I remember you guys were when I was living with Scotty at Scotty's place.
Yeah.
Definitely, you guys were there, and the Short of All house. I feel like for sure.
Mhm.
I have less. I don't
I
have
think
much of
we
a memory either.
I think we switched around. Like every other
Yeah,
weekend, we were either at Scott's or at the Short of All house. Yeah.
yeah. There was a lot of shenanigans going on at the time.
Party. Yeah.
So you guys became pretty close. Like, and some of us have like you and I have stayed in contact and stayed close over the years. I've actually been lucky enough to even come to Germany and see you guys.
Yes.
What do you suppose? Because like, you were here for a while. How long did you au pair for?
1 year.
Really, just one whole year?
Yeah.
Okay, then everything else must have just been because you've come to visit multiple times.
Twice. Yeah.
I can't believe that that's only a year. So
Yeah.
much happened in that year. Will you walk me through that whole year? Because you guys did a lot of stuff in that first year, and kind of like covered the country
Yeah.
and did a lot of partying and had a good time and made some really good friends. Can you walk me
Yeah.
through that?
I'll try. As I said, my memory isn't that good. But yeah, as I said, it started in Connecticut with a 3-day orientation thingy. And we had a day tour to New York City, which was awesome. And then in Chicago, our cluster meetings were always around the place. Like we went to see a lot of sports events. Like we saw the Chicago Bulls,
Nice.
And the socks, what color are they? White?
They're white.
Yeah.
Well, it's tough because somewhere else in Boston, they're Red Sox.
Yeah, and my
Like in
best
Chicago,
friend,
they're White Sox.
my German best friend before I went to America, she actually was an au pair in Boston at the same time. So I sometimes get confused who was Red Sox, who was White Sox.
The second they open their mouths, you can tell the difference.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we saw a lot of sports events, but also we went to musicals and theater and stuff, which was pretty great. Like we probably wouldn't have done all those things if it weren't for that, that organized group thing. So that was really cool. And
You guys came to the Taste of Chicago also.
yeah, but that was,
Um,
I think, just Laura and me. That
yeah,
wasn't
okay.
an au pair thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys drive up there or just catch the train? Do you remember?
Was it in downtown Chicago?
It was.
Then we took the train.
Because hey, we played the Taste of Chicago 2 years. I know 1 year you guys showed up and we're like, hey, there's Laura and Vicky.
Yeah.
Nobody else gave a shit or was there. But
Really? But it was awesome.
yeah,
I think we really enjoyed it there.
Yeah, it's a fun time for sure.
Yeah.
You've traveled also. You've been so that covers Connecticut and kind of to Chicago. But you've been to California. You've been to a lot of places.
Yeah.
That I've never even been to in this country.
Yeah. Well, I think around Easter, my mom and sister came to visit me for 2 weeks. We spent 1 week at my host parents' place and 1 week in Florida. No, Miami. Well,
That's
yeah.
in Florida.
In Florida, yeah. I was like, well, was it Orlando or Miami? But it's both Florida, so yeah. But we went to Miami. I think it was Palm Springs, but it was kind of a shitty vacation because our luggage got lost. No, our luggage got lost. Like we had a stop in Charlotte, I think, and but the thing was, my sister booked the flight, and we went to O'Hare. And when we were there, and went to security, they were like, "Something's wrong here," and we had to get checked all over. Like we were, I don't know, like bad people. And
Germans.
Yeah, but then they didn't find anything, and then they said, "Well, okay, proceed, go ahead." I don't know, I don't care. And then when we got to the gate, they started when they started boarding, they were calling seat numbers, and then we realized that our tickets didn't have seat numbers.
Oh.
And at that point, we knew why they took us out of the crowd, because they said something's not right here. Yeah, because the flight was overbooked and they didn't have seats for us.
Wow.
So they sent us to the hotel and we had to catch the next flight the next morning. But our luggage was already in the plane. And it probably got lost in Charlotte because they were like, well, there's luggage, but there are no people who that luggage belongs to, so let's just take it out and leave it there for no one to find ever again. No, they did find it, but like we were there for a week, like 7 days, and our luggage got there the 4th day, like the night of the 4th day. Wow. So yeah, we spent the first 4 days basically just shopping, which might sound great to the one or other person, but not to me and not to my family either.
That sounds
not like when you're on vacation, you can do that at home.
Yeah. I didn't realize your sister came out your first year here either. Obviously, did they meet you in Florida?
No,
or did they come to Chicago?
They came to Chicago.
Oh, you said they stayed 1 week with your host family.
Exactly.
Right,
but I'm not sure if they met you because my mom was there too, so I don't think there was any partying going on.
No, that was your week of I'm a perfect angel.
Yes.
I met your mom and dad when I came to your house.
Yeah.
And we stayed there, and your sister came here years later.
1 year later. Yeah.
Was it just?
Yes.
The time is ridiculous. Like looking back.
Yeah. I was actually supposed to come there to go there with Laura, but she got an invitation for a baptism And so she had to cancel the flight, and we managed to give the ticket to my sister, so she came with me.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
What are the? I know there's more traveling that you've done.
Yes. As I already mentioned, my best friend from Germany was an au pair in Boston at the same time.
Yeah.
And we met up for the days between Christmas and New Year's because her host family is Jewish, or was Jewish. I don't know.
I think it's a life thing, isn't it? I
Yeah,
guess you
well,
could stop if you wanted.
they are still Jewish, but they're not her host parents anymore, so I wasn't sure if to say.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I was
Yeah.
like, they were Jewish? No, they're probably still Jewish.
They still are. So anyway, they left over Christmas because Hanukkah is like, I don't know, a couple of weeks prior to Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they left her alone. Her first year away from her family. She was alone in a foreign country over Christmas. And she was a bit sad about that, and so I talked to my host parents, and they're such nice people, and they invited her over. Like she was allowed to spend Christmas with us, but we only stayed for 2 days. Like the I don't quite remember if it was. I think it was the morning of the second day of Christmas where we left for Florida. That was the first time that I went to Florida, and there we went to Orlando. We were only there for 3 days. One day we went to Disney World, one day we went to SeaWorld, and the third day we spent shopping at some mall. And then from there we flew to Boston, so I could meet her host family. They were back by that time, and but I was only there like 1 day, and then we took the Chinatown bus to New York City to spend New Year's Eve in New York City at the Times Square.
Yes. For New Year's?
Yes.
Wow.
We were there in the afternoon, but it was already so crowded. Like we had our backs right to the Central Park. Like Times Square was so far ahead of us, but there were already so many people, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, we won't see the what's the thing?
The ball drop."
Yeah. But on the other hand, the fireworks were right above Central Park, so at least we got a good view on that. So yeah, and then we figured, that the whole city would probably be bustling all night, but there was barely anything going on there. We didn't book a hotel or a hostel or anything because we were like, we're gonna party all night. But even McDonald's closed at like 3 a.m. And we were like, what the fuck are we supposed to do until our bus gets here? Because our bus, I think it came around 6 or 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And so we had to spend like 3 or 4 hours roaming around New York City with nothing to do. And in the end, I think, because it was freezing, and I think in the end, we just spent it at some sheltered ATM thing, like some room in a bank that was a
little vestibule.
Yeah. And probably got a little bit of shut-eye, though it wasn't quite comfy, so yeah, not the best sleep I ever had. And
that's
then,
still an amazing time, though, to even get to be. It piques my anxiety just hearing about it, but it's a cool thing to experience.
Yeah. So I saw Florida for the second time with my family, or was it even the third time? Because once my host parents went to Orlando. My host mom had like a business trip there, like a business thingy, and she decided to invite us all over because I don't know how many days the business, whatever it was, it took, 3 days, and then over the weekend we followed, and then we spent the whole weekend there. So I think that was the second time I was in Orlando. And the third time, Florida, but not Orlando. It was Miami. I went there with my mom and sister. And then I think all the other trips I did that year were with Laura. Like we drove up to, I think it's North Dakota, where the Mount Rushmore is.
It's in one of them. I'm not smart.
Yeah. Well, let's just say we went to Mount Rushmore and leave it at that.
Let's pretend they didn't hear us talk about the Dakotas and we just said Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. And what really struck me there was the huge cultural difference between America and Germany, because the day we left, it was Friday night. My family in Germany, they came home from their vacation in Italy, and we talked on the phone. They just came home right before I left, so we had an hour to talk on the phone, and we realized that the distance between my hometown and the place they went to in Italy was exactly as far away that or as St. Charles from Rapid City, which is totally crazy, because no German would ever even consider driving to Italy for just the weekend. And here it was so normal. Like when I told my host parents we're going to the, I don't know, we'll go to Mount Rushmore over the weekend, they were like, oh yeah, great, have fun. Like no big deal. It's totally normal. And,
that's funny that you said it. Me and Jason just last night were talking about, he's like, we should go to Colorado for like a few days. And it's like, it's only 18-hour drive.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, so that's America for you.
Yeah.
That was great. And we went there with like a whole group of au pairs. So I didn't even know all of them before we went there. Like we rented a minivan. I think we were 6 or 7 people. And one of Laura's best German friends was there too. Like she came to visit from Germany. Mm-hmm. Annie, I don't know if you remember her. Skinny, blonde, pretty. Likes to laugh a lot. We went to Chicago one night. I'm not sure if you were there too. But anyway, yeah, she was there when we went to Mount Rushmore. And yeah, we spent a whole day driving there. One night of partying at our cabin, one day of visiting Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse. I don't know if it's finished by now, but it was just starting to be built. And another night of partying, and a whole day driving back through the Badlands, which is also a very pretty place to visit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And the second to last trip I was on with Laura was what was first? Oh, we went to Mexico, Cancun. Oh my gosh, that was such a great party vacation.
Yeah, it's a little different down in Cancun.
I think I never partied as hard as I did down there. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I don't know how much I should get into it, but it was legendary.
You can keep some of those stories for yourselves. We remember. We were there.
Yeah, it was
awesome. That's awesome. And then you guys, did you do your final trip to California?
Yeah, the final trip was a West Coast tour. I think it started in LA. And funny thing, in Cancun, we met a girl. She was, I don't know, maybe a couple of years younger than Laura and me. She was staying at the same hotel. And we got along very, very well. And we exchanged personal details, like, I don't know, Facebook contacts or whatever. And she actually lived in LA. And when we told her that we were planning a West Coast tour, she invited us to spend a day at her place. So that was cool. So Laura and I booked an earlier flight. So we'd have, like, I think 2 additional days before the tour started. And we met up with the girl. I actually forgot her name. I'm not in touch with her anymore. But it was fun. She showed us around. And and then the tour started. I think we went south first, like to San Diego. We were considering having a quick trip to Tijuana, but a couple of us, like me included, sadly, Laura too, our visas were kind of expired. Like we weren't allowed to leave the country anymore.
Okay.
So we couldn't do that, sadly. And then we went up to San Francisco, passing Death Valley and Las Vegas. Yeah, Las Vegas. Yeah.
That's awesome. So one of the things I'm curious about is, as an au pair, you're kind of coming over, and it's like an exchange program where you're working, but you're also getting lodging and stuff like that too. Do you also get paid to do that?
Oh, yeah. We get paid very well.
Really? Because that's what I've always been curious about. Because like you guys traveled your asses off, and you always seem to be able to do stuff and have a good time. Yeah. Like money was no object. Because I was curious, what does something like that pay to come over here and work for a family?
Well, when we started, we got, I think it was $156 a week. But
and this is also 15 years ago.
Yeah, and it goes up. It goes up once a year. So the last 2 months, I think, we even got paid $162 a week. I don't know how much it is now, but since you got a room and board for free, it's a lot of money you can spend.
Yeah. If you're, because I presume they gave you money to go and do the grocery shopping. Yeah. So pretty much all the money you made was for you.
Yeah. And they paid for my food as well. So I could get whatever I wanted to eat, no matter if they wanted to eat it too or not. They were very generous.
Did you have to rent a car, or did they let you use their car also?
Yeah, they had a car for me.
Within reason, I suppose.
Yeah, I had to do a lot of, driving around for the kids, but I could still use it for my free time. Not every au pair has that opportunity. Some host parents tell their au pairs you can only use the car to drive the kids around. But as I said, I got along with my host parents very well. They're so great people. I'm still in touch with them.
Nice.
Though we usually only send emails for birthdays, but still, they still keep telling me that I'm welcome anytime. So that warms my heart.
The few times you've come back to visit, you've gone and seen them, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's awesome. The next time you came here just as a vacation, what was that first? The first one was literally just a vacation, right? You just came out here with, that's when you came with Connie.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense. And then the next time was Kristen's wedding, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, and that was just you and Laura.
Well, Laura and her husband.
That's right.
We went there separately, but we met up a couple of times. But I was pretty much there by myself. Yeah.
Being a nice third wheel, right? Always fun.
Yeah, they wanted to do stuff by themselves too. Like they didn't always want to drag me along, which is totally fine.
Sure, we can cry by ourselves later.
Yes. I don't know how if there's a saying in English, but in German we like to say cry more quiet. Cry quieter, more quiet. Yeah. How do you say?
Probably cry quietly.
Okay. No, but it's like more quieter or
quieter.
More...
Yeah. Okay. Cry quieter.
Yeah. That's what they like to say.
I like it. That's a nice little crash course. So since you've been home and over the last big stretch of years that you've been back and had this experience, you've done quite a lot for yourself also. Like you went and finished school, because that would have taken place before you went to college, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So what did you go to school for?
Well, actually, I'm not quite sure because school systems are different here than they are in America. But I did some like apprenticeship I think is it apprenticeship? Like you learn a job. It's not like just to have a look, but you learn a job. I don't know what the word is. Should
Yeah.
I ask Google what the
I think
But you-
apprenticeship works.
Okay. So y'all know what I mean.
I think we'll all figure it out.
Yeah. So I became a physical therapist,
Okay, nice.
and then I continued becoming an osteopath. And since I live in Germany and laws suck over here, I I had to become a non-medical practitioner, which is like a third job that I had to become to be allowed to do osteopathy in Germany. So really complicated.
Right. We talked about that before, how like every time you seem to be about to be finishing, they threw another whole level of education at you.
Yes.
They're like, nope, now you got to do this and all these hoops to jump through.
Yeah.
So now, did you finish that, or is that what you're
Yes.
finishing now?
No, I am finished.
So you're a non-medical osteopath.
I'm a non-medical practitioner practicing osteopathy, so to say. Yeah.
Do your business cards look ridiculous with all that written on it?
I don't have any because probably there's no a card that's big enough for everything that has to go on there. Nah, just kidding. In German, it's a way shorter word. It's Heilpraktiker. Yeah, non-medical practitioner is Heilpraktiker. So yeah.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense then. Also, you've done some traveling over there recently. Also, I saw some pictures. Where did you guys just come back from?
We were in Austria. Lermoos, I think, is the city called. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of. I don't know if you can call them mountains or if they're still hills. What's like? When do you call Earth a mountain?
I don't want to be the gatekeeper of mountains versus hills, but I feel
think
like hills are covered in grass and mountains are rock.
Yeah, let's call them mountains. I think they're mountains. It was a lot of fun. It's such a pretty landscape there. I went there with my parents and my sister. It's this year my parents will be married for 40 years, and It was kind of like their wish to do this family vacation together in honor of their marriage.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's really great, yeah. And before that, we went to, I think 1 year ago, we went to the Netherlands, which is always great. We've been there so many times, and it's always great. But that's definitely hills, if you can even call them hills. Like it's flat land. And the year before that, we went to Scotland to see the Highlands, and that was amazing. It's a definite travel. What's the word? Not advice, but recommendation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
The Highlands they're amazing.
Yeah.
And the fun thing is that parts of Scotland and parts of Austria reminded me of New Zealand, which is where I went 5 years ago.
Nice. So you've been to New Zealand.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I've been there for 5 weeks. Yeah,
went there for 5 weeks?
Yeah, I took extra vacation, so to say. It was
really
the
cool.
year that I finished osteopathy school and turned 30, so I thought I'd, give that to myself as a gift.
Yeah.
And it was great. I went there alone because no one else had 5 weeks off work.
Right.
Yeah. But it was a really, really great experience to do something all on your own. But since I'd say I'm fluid in English, I felt confident going there. If I didn't speak the language as well as I do, I don't think I would have dared to go there all by myself.
Well, so I find that fascinating too, because just saying like that you're fluent in English, I feel like the way that they speak there is not like, you've traveled enough to know that English is different depending on where you go. Even in America,
Yes.
like depending on what part of America, going to New Zealand's very different English.
Yeah. But I didn't have any trouble understanding them. Where I had a lot of trouble was understanding the Scots people. Like Scotland, I don't know if that's even allowed to be called English, what they talk there. Like, ugh. Let's go to the train station. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something endearing about it, though.
Yeah. I love the different accents, but sometimes it's hard understanding them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I have not traveled that much, but it's even just hearing it on different things, it's insane.
Yeah.
What was the flight like to New Zealand? It had to take forever.
Well, there were 2 flights. Like,
Ah,
a flight to get there and a flight to come back. I have to be so specific because those 2 flights were like the extremist opposites of each other ever. Like
really?
the flight there was the worst flight I was ever on because I was sick. I was so sick, I thought I had to die on the flight. But like it was just a very, very hard cold. Like I wasn't like, I don't know, dying of pneumonia, but it was a very bad cold. And but I still decided to fly there because, you know, a cold is usually done by in like a week or so, and I was there for 5, and I didn't want to, you know, cancel 5 weeks of vacation for a couple of days of bad feeling.
Right.
And
It's always good to bring a virus across country lines, too.
well, it was before Corona, so no one cared. No one was like, well, you have to put on a mask and be tested and whatever, which was good for me at that time. But yeah, it wasn't that bad. Like the flight was horrible, horrible, horrible. But when I was there, the first night I had a single room, so I could really, you know, sleep in. Sleep in. I didn't really sleep in because someone tried to, I don't know, burn down the hotel. No, not really, but something was going on there. Like I was like, is someone trying to kill someone else? There was so much commotion in the hallway. I was kind of almost starting to get scared at some point.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't scare easily, so
Yeah.
that says something. So, but yeah, so it was good that I was there alone because since I was a bit sick the first, I don't know, 3 days, I could go on my own pace. Like I didn't have to, you know, make sure to keep up with others. So I could still, even though I was still a bit sick, I could still enjoy my time there.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the flight. You were asking about the flight. The flight back was the best flight ever. It took forever. I think, I'm not sure, but I think it took 26 hours total. But a flight time was 22 hours. But
I like that you said that like that was better.
yeah, well.
That was only 22 hours, so not too bad.
Anyway, the flight from Auckland to, what was it? Singapore? I think it took like 8 hours. And I was sitting next to a woman who was from Germany as well, from Bavaria. And she was just such an interesting person. Like, we talked for hours. Like, at some point, we were like, oh, we're almost in what's the name of the city again? Not Shanghai, but Singapore. Yeah,
Singapore,
we talked for like 5 hours nonstop, and we didn't even notice how time flew. And yeah, at some point we were like, oh, actually, we were planning on watching a movie, but yeah, let's talk some more. And then we were in Singapore, and she too had like 4 hours between flights, and we spent those 4 hours, napping at the airport because it was the middle of the night. But it was good to have someone there so you wouldn't feel alone while closing your eyes in an airport. And then we took different flights because she went to Munich and I went to Frankfurt. And the flight from Singapore to Frankfurt was also amazing because, usually there's 3 seats in a like right next to each other, and then there's like a hallway, whatever you want to call it. What's it called? Not hallway. What's it called?
I don't fly enough to know, but it's a walkway. I don't know. It's an aisle. They're called an aisle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, window seat, aisle seat. I should have known. Oh, whatever. So 3 seats, aisle, 3 seats, or 4 aisle, 3 seats. Yeah. And I had the window seat, and next to me was like a couple. And when boarding was completed, they saw that up front there were 2 open seats right in front of that dividing wall between first and second class, and there's more room for your feet. And they asked the stewardess if they could switch seats, and she was like, yeah, sure, boarding is completed, you can sit wherever you want. And so they moved, which meant I could actually, I could lie down because I had 3 seats to myself.
You literally lay like
yeah, well, in the embryo hold, whatever you want to call it, but I could lie down, which was just amazing because I could actually catch some shut-eye. And in the morning they turned on the light and they brought breakfast, and I was like, yay, I can continue my show. And then I continued binge watching until the announcement came that we were approaching Frankfurt and that we were about to land, and that we should please shut down all the computers and put the seat in the upright position, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm still missing 2 episodes.
Is that something you can watch somewhere else, or is it only available there?
It wasn't available in Germany at that time. I'm not sure if it is now, but I only have Prime, and I think it's not available there. I think it was available on Netflix, but I don't have that. So I'll never know how the show will end.
Nope, that's it. Now, was that a separate trip? Because you had talked about New Zealand, but then you mentioned Auckland to Singapore?
Yeah, Auckland is
that
a city.
That's New Zealand?
A city in New Zealand. Yeah.
Okay, I'm very.
So actually, my flight back wasn't from Auckland. I arrived in Auckland, but I actually left from Christchurch because I did a round trip. Not quite round.
No, that's not an airport. That's church.
Christchurch. Yeah, well, but that's a city in New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. New Zealand has 2 islands, a North Island and a South Island. I don't know if you're aware of that, but Auckland is in the North Island. I started there. I did, a bit traveling around there for, I think, 3 weeks, and then I traveled around the North Island for 2 weeks, and I left from there. Yeah. Though actually, in the South Island, I wasn't alone anymore. I met a girl at my second to last stop in the North Island who was traveling with 2 guys. One of those guys wanted to continue on to the South Island, but the other 2 didn't. And so we teamed up. And we, in the North Island, I took the bus everywhere because they have traffic on the wrong side of the road, like they drive on the left. Yeah. And in Germany, we drive on the right, just like you guys do.
It's literally called the right side.
Exactly. It's not called the right side for nothing. And so I didn't want to rent a car there because, I was there all by myself and I didn't want to drive on the wrong side of the road in a foreign country. So I was like, I'd rather take the bus. But then I met that guy and we teamed up and then we rented a car together. And that was so great because the South is so much more rural than the North. I would have been lost with a bus. I probably wouldn't have been able to do anything I wanted because the bus never would have been able to bring me to the places that I actually wanted to visit. So that was, perfect. Everything was perfect.
What are some of your favorite, like, it'd be impossible to be like, what's your favorite thing you've seen or done? But, like, what are some of your, like, crowning achievements as far as travel?
That's a tough one. Maybe New Zealand because it's something so special because it's like basically like the other half of the earth. Like it's as far away from Germany as it gets. And I'm probably only gonna, I'm never probably gonna go there again because it's just so far away.
Yeah.
And it was a big dream of mine, which, I realized, like, not realized, but that I made come true. And I did it even though I was all alone, which was a bit of a, I was struggling for a while if I should really go there all alone. But I did, and it was amazing. And so the altogether experience was probably what makes me say that New Zealand might have been my favorite place to travel. Though my year in America tops it almost. Yeah, it tops it, but from what I experienced there. But I was there for a whole year. You can't call it traveling there. So.
Yeah, that's true. You were immersed like in the culture for a year.
Yeah.
Taking advantage, if you will.
Yeah. And the interesting part was that my host family is Korean. So
that is interesting.
Yeah, so I got a little peek into the Korean culture as well, which was awesome.
Yeah, that is really cool. One of the things you had touched on a little bit ago there is when you went to New Zealand and kind of you felt comfortable because you do speak English fluently, quote unquote fluently. And that was kind of one of my experiences too. Like when we come to Germany and you guys with your traveling as well, I remember just between you and Laura, you guys spoke like 5 languages, which is insane. Like I made it all through high school and never even had to take a foreign language, which is also rare, but it just never came up in the high school I went to. Is that something that's kind of just culturally expected? Like that just happens in school, or did you seek that out?
It depends on what school you go to, but with Laura it's different because she's actually half Italian, half Spanish.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Living in Germany, who I met in America.
Yeah, her story is pretty amazing.
You should ask her if she wants to go here with you too.
I have not.
Though she's pretty busy, I'm not sure.
Yeah, she's busy, and I haven't talked to her since she's been here.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's on WhatsApp.
Yeah, she is.
She is? All right. Well, then I just have never taken the initiative to get her information. Yeah. I would love to.
But with languages, the school I went to, I had to do at least 2 foreign languages. Like I had to start either with English or with French. I don't like French that much, so it was obvious that I would choose English. And when you chose English, you couldn't avoid having French as your second foreign language. And then in my school, it was when you entered 9th grade, you could decide whether you wanted to stay on the language path, so to say, which would include Spanish as your third language, and or you could choose the like the science and math path. But if you can choose between math and Spanish, I mean, hello. Right. You can figure what I chose, right?
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not like that in all the schools. Like a friend of mine, for example, I think he never had any foreign language in his school. But it's pretty common that you have at least English, maybe French.
Yeah, I was surprised being in Europe because we'd gone to France as well when we were out there with you guys, and a lot more people speak English than you would think.
Yeah, but also, um, the world is dominated by the English language.
Yeah,
Like,
you're welcome.
yeah, thanks. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like Germany is obsessed with the English language.
Yeah.
Like even like advertisement slogans from German brands are in English sometimes, and the teenage language has a lot of English words. Don't ask me how they pronounce it. Like they're like cringe instead of cringe, or weird instead of weird. But yeah, it sounds so strange.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, they like to talk English, or at least include English words into their regular language. Yeah.
I like that.
But I don't know how it is in other countries.
Yeah,
I can only speak for Germany.
that makes sense. You've had a pretty amazing life. Like you said, you're only 35 now, right? Yeah.
Only.
Only.
Like
Yeah, only.
that's half of 70. Hello.
Oh,
That's
Jesus.
old.
I just turned 40 in April. Like I feel you. It's awful.
But you stayed young in your mind.
Yeah, and mature wise, I suppose I stayed young.
I didn't mean it like that.
But you've done amazing things in a relatively short amount of time, and it's just cool to kind of see the difference and hear your experience. What do you suppose is next for you? And I don't mean that like an on the spot, like some grand amazing thing, but like just genuinely, like what do you want? Where do you see yourself doing next?
I'm not planning on doing anything new for the next months or years, even. I don't know. But as I mentioned, I just finished my third education, and I'm just starting to get my foot into the business. So my goal for the next 1 or 2 years is to just, switch from physical therapy to osteopathy full time. So that's my huge goal.
Will you get to change that German word then to where you're not like you're actually an actual thing instead of that little extra word there? I already forgot
Sorry, what
it's
did
called.
you mean?
I forgot what it's called already. Like your
The
business
non-medical
card.
practitioner thing?
Yeah, will you be an actual medical practitioner then?
No.
Never.
I'll stay a non-medical practitioner.
Okay, sweet. That's the dream.
Yeah. No, because medical practitioner would be a doctor,
Right.
and I don't have such high ambitions.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that makes sense. What do you suppose the next trip would be?
Like traveling?
Yeah.
My sister wants me to go to Asia next year with her. She just started a new relationship, so I'm not sure if that holds, if she still wants to take me on vacation, or if she might just say, well, you do whatever, I'll take my boyfriend.
Right.
So I'm not sure. But probably Asia, like Thailand or Sri Lanka. I don't know how you pronounce that in English.
That's correct. Sri Lanka.
Yeah. So that might be my destination for next year. But if my sister changes her plans, I am considering not going anywhere and saving money to go to the US again.
Yes.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
It's been so long since I've seen you guys, so
yeah,
I'm getting homesick. Apprentices.
I'd say when was Kristen's wedding was? Gosh, they've been married forever now.
I think it's almost like, could it be 9 years?
It could be. Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but it might, or 10 even.
Yeah, I know that it's been too long.
I think it might even be 10 years because I finished physical therapy school in 2012, and I think it was the next summer that I went to America. So it must have been 2013.
Yeah, damn,
And it's
gonna be
2023 now, so it's 10 years.
yeah. Oof, that's insane.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
So,
I hope that does happen. I always have a dream because I work in a school now, so my dream is always to. It'd be cool if I could work the summers in Germany
yeah.
and just come out for like a few weeks during the summer. It'd be incredible.
You know, I have a spare room. You can always say hi and come stay here.
Yeah, I would like that very much. We'll
You're always
I'll have to
welcome.
manifest that.
Yes. Manifesting is really, really working, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure manifesting is the only way I actually became a non-medical practitioner because I was having such a hard time studying, and I kept manifesting, I'll be a non-medical practitioner. I'll be a non-medical practitioner. I'll be a non-medical practitioner. And the exam itself, it was so awful. Like, I totally blacked out, but I still made it. And I think I just I manipulated them by my manifestation.
Nice. Hey, however it works, that's fantastic. Well, good for you. I think that's probably a good spot to call it a day then. That's incredible. You've done incredible things. I appreciate you so much. I miss you so much. Thank you so much for being on here.
Thanks for having me.